And IMD has now issued a danger signal number 10 for the Cyclone Tauktae. A signal number 10 indicates high danger warning, which means that it is a very severe cyclonic storm that we are expecting to cross over near the port. Wind speeds are expected to be around 64 to 190 knots or 120 to 220 kilometers per hour. Joining me right now on the broadcast is Mr. Ranvijay. He's the Deputy Commandant of the NDRF in Gandhinagar. Also joining me right now is Mr. G.P. Sharma. He's the President of Skymet. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Both of you, thank you very much for joining us on Republic TV. Mr. Sharma, if I could come to you first. Now, Mr. Sharma, you know, the IMD has just issued an alert where it says that the danger signal number 10 for Cyclone Tauktae. Now, this essentially indicates that this is a very severe cyclonic storm that we are expecting. Wind speeds could go up to as high as about 220 kilometers per hour. Tell us more.
Oh yes. You see, as I mentioned in your channel in the morning interview also, the storm is extremely severe. We're just one stop short of the super cyclone, the topmost category. Okay, and it is gaining strength. In this category, the wind speed can reach up to about 220 kilometers per hour. And beyond that, in any case, it is a super cyclone. But then over the sea, you see, having a very, very correct estimate to the tune of 20 kilometers is very difficult. In all probabilities, could be in this storm itself also over the sea, the winds could be in excess of 200 and could be 220 also. It's only when you measure it very, very closely, very accurately, you come to know the exact speed. But otherwise, it's a very, very severe cyclonic storm not seen in the past, at least Gujarat, for the last 2 decades or so. To my memory, I think last was in 1998, which we popularly called as Kandla cyclone, which actually struck Porbandar. That was something of this 190 kilometer per hour speeds. So that is somewhere near this. Okay, it's a ferocious storm. It is fast approaching the coast now. It's already crossed Abhim, Mumbai, and then it is heading towards Saurashtra coast. And I think the landfall should be somewhere close to between Mahua and Diu, a little right of Diu. That's a place, possibly coastal lines of Amreli district or Bhavnagar district. That's where it's going to strike. Also, the storm has done 2 things. It has shifted the goalpost also. It's shifted the timelines also. Earlier, it was expected sometime possibly tomorrow morning makes a landfall. Landfall is when the center of the storm crosses the land. Though the activity starts much before that. Same thing will happen with this. I will say another couple of hours, the activity will start there, coastal parts. Anytime in the evening after about 5:30 or so, we will start seeing effect of this storm in terms of high-speed winds, high-velocity winds, the rains also starting and peaking thereafter. And anytime the center of the system will cross possibly some around, say, possibly anything between 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the early night itself. The landfall means the whole process takes about a couple of hours. It starts, then the center moves across and the rear portion moves across. At times it may be about 3 hours also total for the storm to take. Okay, so that's about it. I am afraid that it's an extremely severe cyclone which is going to bring a trail of destructions over that area. Keep our fingers crossed that the preparations are on, and then we have the recovery, rehabilitation, rescue, all in place. Still some time is there. Right. I think already people have been evacuated also. If more, they need to go to safe shelters. Okay, the storm is huge and ferocious. We need to exercise caution. Yes.
Now, Mr. Sharma, as you said, you know, we need to be very concerned because you've said that this is just one level short of a super cyclone. Now, give us, you know, if you could, for our viewers, give us a sense of where it is right now and how do we see it proceeding. You know, I'm in Mumbai right now, and here we can already see the effects of the storm. There have been gusty winds and rainfall since the morning, but now we understand that it has crossed Mumbai and is moving towards Gujarat. You said it is likely to make a landfall nearer to Diu now, to Diu?
Yes, little right of Diu, possibly close to place like called Zafrabad, but then 20, 30 kilometers this side, that side, it becomes very difficult to point out. But yes, it should be a Bhavnagar district or Amreli coastline, which is a little right of Diu. Anything between Mahua and Diu, I think that should be the landfall, and it should happen in the just evening hours itself. Now you are talking about Mumbai, okay? The similar, it's already crossed a Mumbai, okay? It is a little, I will say, west northwest of Mumbai now. The storm which caused a destruction, huge one yesterday for Goa and Ratnagiri of Maharashtra, when it was at a similar position of the coastline. Possibly, I feel that Mumbai topography is such, local features are such, it doesn't get in with this type of a pattern, circulation pattern, it doesn't get affected much. It has been raining all right, but no heavy rains were there. Moderate rains possibly. Throughout the night it was there. Yes, it was windy to the tune of about 50-60 kilometers per hour, but the winds in any case in Mumbai, they generally become strong with the sea breeze also. But then I think if it is moving further, Mumbai may escape the fury of this particular storm in terms of what it brought earlier over Ratnagiri and the coastal parts, and including Goa. Ratnagiri had 364 millimeter rainfall, 36 centimeter of rainfall in just about 24 hours. That was its fury. And so was Goa, 250 millimeter. Mumbai has escaped. Mumbai and adjoining area has escaped, and then I don't think now it should be that heavy. Yes, it will continue raining. Windy conditions continue raining. Now,
all right.
It is just about 200 kilometers or so short of Gujarat coast, heading towards Diu and Mahua region. Okay.
So as you're pointing out, it's just about 200 kilometers short of Diu, where we expected to make landfall, and you said it seems to have changed goalposts. Thank you for the moment, Mr. Sharma, for joining us and speaking to us on Republic TV. We have our correspondents on the ground as well. Let's go across to Priyanka now, who's reporting from Gujarat. Priyanka, give us a sense of the preparation that has been made, because this storm now seems to be of a higher category or a level than was it was first perceived to be. It's just one level short of something that's called a super cyclone. We're expecting gusty winds up to the speeds of 220 kilometers per hour now.
Well, yes, Nupur, earlier in the week we had been seeing that, as Mr. Sharma was also pointing out, that the cyclone was supposed to be making landfall between Kutch, Porbandar. Kutch and Porbandar were the two places that were going to be affected the most. The cyclone was moving towards the northeastern parts of Gujarat as well, but now it's moving more towards the western parts as well. So now we are seeing that the entire place where the landfall is going to be made, it is now between Diu and Mahua as well. And now the preparedness is also being shifted accordingly, because the NDRF teams had been deployed. Several teams had been deployed towards Porbandar and Kutch as well. But now those teams will now be shifted towards Bhavnagar as well, so that there can be more and more evacuation that can be carried out. Since yesterday morning, we have been seeing that evacuation drills have been carried out by the NDRF. From the low-lying areas, people have been evacuated and shifted to shelters in the nearby government hospitals, because remember, this is not just the cyclone that the people are facing. This is a double disaster of the cyclone and the pandemic of the COVID-19 as well. So they cannot be crowding people too much. So that is another issue that the people on the ground are also facing. The NDRF teams are going to have to be careful about, which they have made several shelters, government schools and several other government buildings that have been used as shelters, so that people can be kept there overnight, and all these relief packages, everything is being provided to them, making sure that the houses which are situated near the shores are also completely emptied, evacuated, and the fishermen who had been venturing out in the coast, they had already been given the danger signal of not venturing out. And now today morning we have seen that the danger signal number 10 had been issued to all coasts of Gujarat, which is why we have been seeing that NDRF, CRPF teams, all of them have been deployed and been carrying out evacuation plans. Even just a few minutes back, we had the Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who did a conference with all the officials to make sure that the preparedness is up to the mark on the ground. Because remember, people need to also remember that this is not just the cyclone, this is a cyclone during a pandemic, which is why they're trying to make sure that they can also avoid crowding. They can make sure that they avoid more emergencies in the COVID hospitals as well in these particular areas where the cyclone is expected to make the landfall and going to have the most effect as well. So these are the issues on the ground that people and the officials are actually taking care of, making sure that they tackle both the cyclone and the pandemic all together, and make sure that people
and the loss Priyanka, as you're pointing out, preparations now in place to be able to deal with the situation once it makes landfall. In Niranjan now, he's joining us from the news pit. Niranjan, you know, the NDRF will have to now move very quickly because as we understand, the area where it will make landfall has now shifted to somewhere between Diu and Mahua.
Yes, and we had Mr. Sharma of Skymet just explain the entire phenomena as it's unfolding, the cyclone as it moves and as we track it. But I wanted to quickly show you, Nupur, the situation in Mumbai this afternoon, because there has been, waterlogging, and we saw waterlogging and some trail of destruction in Mumbai as well as the cyclone makes its way. Now, just to show you a little bit about the waterlogging, there's a Skymet map of the waterlogging in Mumbai, especially just to give you an idea. What you see here on this map, just to give you an idea, the dots in blue, seeing waterlogging that is 0 to 10 millimeters. The dots in yellow that you see here, seeing waterlogging between 10 and 20 millimeters, and the orange dots are the areas that are seeing waterlogging between 20 and 30 millimeters, and above 30 millimeters waterlogging seen in several parts of Mumbai and South Mumbai. So the coastal areas and Mumbai, the regions close to the sea, seeing that there is more waterlogging in some of these areas. So I'm just zooming in, and as I stay on this map, we're just getting in some more updates. I'm going to tell you more about that because Yesha is also joining us live. As I zoom into the Mumbai map, showing you the waterlogging in different parts of the city, because and we also had some of those pictures. Most of the roads are waterlogged this morning, also because of so many trees have been uprooted. Traffic has been diverted in many parts of Mumbai. And as I stay with this map, I'm quickly going to get you the update that I received from our teammate Alisha, who has just confirmed as of 11:30, Kolaba in South Mumbai has received, here it shows 20 millimeters, but according to the official information that we have, Kolaba has received about 79.4 millimeters of rainfall, Santa Cruz 44.6 millimeters of rainfall, and Worli 48 millimeters of rainfall, Baikula 31 millimeters of rainfall, Dadar fire station and Nariman Point 30 millimeters of rainfall. So from central Mumbai to the western suburbs to the eastern suburbs, most parts of Mumbai receiving heavy rainfall and winds, of course. And I'm handing it back to you. I think we have the NDRF Deputy Commandant also joining us live. But I'm staying with the pictures coming in. And this is a Skymet live map. Skymet working with Republic TV. We're getting you the Skymet experts as well as some of their maps. Just to give you an idea, before I hand it back to you, another map that I have here is a live status of the cyclone as it makes its way. If I zoom into this map, this is a live map from Skymet. That's the Cyclone Tauktae making its way through the western coast. So I'm handing it back to you. We can keep this image of the cyclone on our screens as we get the expert view of how our forces and also the NDRF and different agencies involved in fighting this cyclone are going about changing their strategies as the cyclone also makes its way through different parts of the western coast. Over to you, Nupur.
Right, absolutely, Niranjan. Thank you for bringing to us that map over there. Let's now go across to Mr. Ranvijay. He's the Deputy Commandant of the NDRF. He's joining us now. Good afternoon, Mr. Ranvijay. Thank you very much for speaking to us on Republic TV. Mr. Ranvijay, we have had, news just coming in that this now is looking just one level short of a super cyclone. And also what we know at this point in time is that earlier on the area that was pinpointed for it to make landfall has shifted slightly. We are expecting it to make landfall between Diu and Mahua. So does that mean that the NDRF teams will now have to move in? So give us a sense of the preparedness.
यस, एक्चुअली आईएमडी से जो प्रेडिक्शंस मिला है तो उसके अनुसार लैंडफॉल का लोकेशन हमें क्लियर हो गया है। तो हम लोग स्ट्रेटेजिकली उसको प्लान करके और एनडीआरएफ टीमों का डिप्लॉय कर रहे हैं। साथ ही लो लाइन एरिया को हम लोग परख रहे हैं कहाँ से शिफ्टिंग करने की जरूरत है, या फिर अगर कोई कमजोर किस्म का मकान है तो वहां से लोगों को निकालने के लिए 1 लाख से ज्यादा लोगों को अभी तक शिफ्टिंग हम लोग कर चुके हैं।
जी मिस्टर रणविजय जी, हमें ये भी बताइए कि इस दौरान जबकि कोविड चल रहा है तो बहुत ही मुश्किल रहा होगा और होगा एनडीआरएफ की टीम्स के लिए काम करना, क्योंकि उनको वो सारी किट पहननी पड़ेगी और उसके अलावा बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स भी हैं गुजरात में। इट डज हैव अ हाई नंबर ऑफ केसेस।
हाँ, ये करेक्ट, बट हमारी जो भी टीम होती है वो कोविड की पूरी ट्रेंड टीम है। तमाम कोविड के इक्विपमेंट्स होते हैं, वो रेडी होते हैं। हमारे टीम्स को इवन यहाँ तक कोई कोविड पेशेंट शिफ्टिंग होता है तो शुरू से हम लोग उसमें एडेप्ट हैं। और साइक्लोन में मेनली जो कम्युनिकेशन फेलियर होता है प्लस पेशेंट के लिए जो ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई में प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से हम लोग का चर्चा हुआ है। हमारी टीम उसमें मदद करेगी और जो भी शिफ्टिंग करने का होगा तो उसमें हम लोग शिफ्टिंग करेंगे। कम्युनिकेशन के लिए सैटेलाइट फोन भी हम लोग हर जगह सेट कर रहे हैं। बाकी अगर रोड वगैरह ब्लॉक होता है तो क्लियर करेंगे हम लोग। और डिप डाइवर्स भी हमारे पास होता है, अगर कहीं जरूरत है तो मोटर बोट या डिप डाइवर्स भी हमारे रेडी है।
जी रणविजय जी, हमें एक और बात बताइए कि जैसे कि आप कह रहे हैं अब हमें क्लियर हो गया है कि ये लैंडफॉल कहाँ पे करेगा, क्या ये कोई क्लैरिटी है कि कितने बजे करेगा? क्योंकि पहले हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि 8 बजे के बाद ये लैंडफॉल करेगा, बट अभी थोड़ा सा पाथ चेंज हो गया है और काफी जल्दी ये मूव कर रहा है स्टॉर्म।
हाँ, आज वो थोड़ा सा अर्ली हो गया है, तो हम लोग स्ट्रेटेजिकली कि जहाँ टीम का रीडिप्लॉयमेंट करना है तो वो लोग भी हम लोग कर रहे हैं। लोगों का इवैक्यूएशन के लिए थोड़ा सा लोकेशन जो शिफ्ट हुआ है तो उसके तहत हम लोग को पब्लिक को में जाके और सभी लोगों को युद्ध स्तर पर काम जारी है। क्योंकि सरकार की पॉलिसी यहाँ की है कि जीरो लॉस हो, कुछ भी मैन पावर का जीरो लॉस हो, तो उसके तहत जो भी रिक्वायरमेंट होता है, जिनको भी शिफ्टिंग करना पड़ रहा है या जो जरूरी कदम है वो हम लोग उठा रहे हैं तथा काम कर रहे हैं।
जी मिस्टर रणविजय, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे जुड़ने का। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर स्पीकिंग टू अस on Republic TV as the NDRF teams continue to launch operations in Gujarat, where we're expecting the storm to make landfall perhaps a little earlier.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Mumbai, of course, is bearing the brunt of a bit of that storm. We have been seeing extremely gusty winds since this morning. We have seen heavy rainfall. Waterlogging has also been reported from various parts of Mumbai. And in fact, rain and gusty winds are still continuing. Let's go across to Yesha, who's reporting from the Girgaon Chowpatty. Yesha, give us a sense of what's happening over there. Overall in Mumbai, we've seen, gusty winds. We've seen heavy rainfall since the morning.
That's right. So what's really happened is there's been heavy rainfall in Mumbai ever since last night. Even now, for that matter, CM Uddhav Thackeray has already announced that there's an orange alert for rain in Mumbai and red alert on the other hand overall across Maharashtra. There have been more than 12,000 people across the entire coastal region of Maharashtra who've been relocated, because right now what we see is there's a heavy rain that is right now in Mumbai. In fact, for that matter, where we are near Marine Drives, there are like a lot of trees which have fallen. These are old trees, and the entire stretch of marine lines has been evacuated. There are people who usually visit Marine Drives because it is one of the important tourist locations in Mumbai. But right now, that entire stretch has been asked to be kept empty, because there's also a high tide which is expected in a few minutes from now. That is around 12:51. And as a result of which, IMD has also issued an alert. On the other hand, what we've seen is Mayor of Mumbai, that is Kishori Pednekar, she has taken the entire route across Gateway until Marine Drives, and she's also taken a stock of the entire situation. What we see is at various places, that is especially around this coastal area around Mumbai, which is from Girgaon Chowpatty, or for that matter Kemps Corner or Banganga, which is close to the Girgaon Chowpatty area, wherein wherein we've experienced that there's water logging, especially around the place where there are various infrastructure projects which are going on, and there have been various places where trees have fallen. Also, there have been wall collapses reported around Banganga area. As a result of it, there has been there has been a lot of damage that has been caused because of the cyclone currently in Mumbai, and that is what we've seen. Yes, Nupur.
All right, Yesha, bringing us those details of what's happening in Mumbai, but the storm is also causing havoc on the coastal areas of Maharashtra, and thereafter we're expecting it to make landfall near between Diu and Mahua at earlier than it was earlier expected. It was perhaps a couple of hours earlier. 6 p.m. is what we're looking at right now. Thank you for the moment, Yesha, for joining us.